Spirit Work Primer by Naag Loki Shivanath. This is one of Crosscrow Books' first books to be published. I made a video recently about another book that was published from Crosscrow Books, and I was lamenting the unreasonable price. Well, the good news is that this is an excellent book. Yeah, the price is, I haven't changed my mind about that. The price is not okay for the construction of the book, but in terms of the contents of the book, we've got something quite good here. I don't agree with every single page of what we have, but on the whole, I think that this could be, well, it could be a classic. I liked a lot of what I saw here. So, Spirit Work Primer is a book that was self-published in 2015, I think it was, maybe something along those lines. And Crosscrow Books, who have who are starting to make a name for themselves in the sense that they are bringing books that have been out of print or books that have just left the public's conscience or that have just never got the life that they deserved in the first place. Have brought this one back into print, and there are a couple of extra chapters, and the author has made a few changes. So the chapter that I didn't particularly agree with was the one on familiar spirits, but apart from that, I thought it was quite good. The recent book by Jason Miller, Consorting with Spirits, this made me think a lot of that, although obviously this one was written first, and I would say that if you are just beginning, if you're just getting your head around the idea of evoking spirits and invoking spirits and just having anything to do with spirits at all, this is a really good primer. I mean, it does exactly what it says on the tin. This is perfect for somebody starting out. It's got some little practical works at the end of each chapter, but really, honestly, these practical works is basically do what you read in the chapter. I think that pretty much sums those up. Just to give you an idea of what level we're talking about here. There was a sentence here, I just landed on this page and it made me think of it, and it says, here we are, the Bornless One ritual. The ritual has roots in the Golden Dawn, though it was created based upon an older Greek ritual. So this is, it's a major simplification. It's not incorrect. Maybe to say that it has its roots in the Golden Dawn isn't quite right, but the roots spread out across the various places where a ritual has been significant, and the Golden Dawn, I suppose, was the origin of the Thelemic orders of Aleister Crowley, and so to an extent, yes, you could certainly say that the Golden Dawn was one of the places of the roots of this Greco-Egyptian magical papyri ritual, right? Of the headless one, of course. Occasionally there's just a little slip, and that I'm not 100, that I don't 100% agree with, or that I feel like it could have been a teaching opportunity or something like that, but that's really where my criticisms end. In terms of introducing the reader to what spirits are, what they should expect from spirit work, what they should expect to experience when they call a spirit. Oh my goodness, at the beginning, there's a fantastic chapter on the categories of spirits. And I really, really appreciate this, the way the author categorizes those spirits in very useful ways, and ways that are useful in 2023, not necessarily just useful in Christian Italy in during the Renaissance. So I do actually, I really appreciate that. Shall I show you very briefly the table of contents, and you'll get an idea of what we have here, right? The basics of spirit work, the nature of offerings, a very nice chapter on offerings. I always appreciate decent introductions to this concept. Aaron Leach was really my recordings of Aaron Leach and his books were really my guide when I was trying to understand the nature of offerings. And it's all here explained very, very clearly. And I don't think that Aaron Leach could disagree with very much of what's written in this chapter over here, right? So then we've got spirit senses. What senses are involved, and the idea of more subtle senses and so on. Magical invocation and evocation, the difference between the two, and what you should expect from either. And I rather like the idea that the idea of possession is suggested later on as a deeper, more advanced level of invocation. Okay, actually, maybe another little comment here. The chapter on spiritual self-defense and cleanup is right at the end here. I feel like that's a chapter that needs to be at the beginning of any book on spirits. Just a little thought there. Let's move on to the nature of spiritual pacts. Right, I mean, this is another thing that many people have got lots of preconceptions about, many prejudices, many preconceived ideas. But this chapter deals with that really nicely and explains it in simple, clear English. That's another thing that I really appreciate about this book, is that it's like having a conversation. I mean, it's conversational English. It's not trying to aggrandize the writer. The writer really is trying to educate you. The writer isn't just sharing information that he knows and or putting information that he knows on paper and hoping that you'll get the gist of it. No, he's a great communicator, and I've come back to that head bornless ritual once again. But it's very nicely written. It feels like you're having a conversation with the writer. Spiritual, familiar spirits, which I said I didn't particularly like. There's an aspect here of using animals and hosting spirits inside an animal, and no, I don't know. The other aspects of familiars are covered here, but there's that one aspect which I don't think that it's okay to perpetuate that misunderstanding. Spirit keeping, and yes, he does actually approach the idea that spirit keeping is a contentious practice, and that it's certainly not everyone agrees that it's the right thing to be doing, and he likens it to Pokemon collecting, but he also is quite he explains that some people might feel that way, but other people might feel otherwise, and so he explains what it is and how it's done. Isolated spirits, created spirits. So yes, he does go into the idea of servitors and so on. Spirit Houses, then Spiritual Self-Defense and Cleanup, and Grimoire of the Thorn, which is actually like a little grimoire of his own device, which wasn't in the original book. He had started writing this as a follow-up to his book, which never really happened, and so it was a nice opportunity to add this as an actual working. There was another chapter. Let me see if I can remember which it was. Magic. No, that wasn't the one. Yeah, this is the one. Spirit Senses is a chapter that is entirely new to this new edition, this second edition of his book, the one published through Crossed Crow Books. All right, let me talk a little bit about Crossed Crow Books and the previous video that I made. I've already addressed this in my news video of last week, but Crossed Crow Books wrote back to me and they said that they understand that these books are way overpriced for the quality that they are. The upcoming super deluxe legacy edition of the Green Tree Mysteries, I think that's what it's called. I've seen pictures of that, and maybe if you're following Crossed Crow Books on Instagram, you've seen them as well. They are properly Smith sewn, real 3/4 bound, real leather, marbled paper, they're real deluxe books, and they are also going to do larger runs of these standard hardcover books so that they can bring the price of these down a little bit as well. And I think that if they can bring the price down to a reasonable level, I think that we've got potentially some really nice new material on its way here. I like their design, I like their covers. I am a fan of cloth bound books, and to an extent, if I have a choice between a cloth-bound book and a leather-bound book, I mean, I know that the leather-bound book is going to last longer, and it's certainly a more luxurious textile. It's certainly more expensive, but I like the feel of cloth-bound. What I don't like, of course, is the fact that it's perfect bound. Just glued pages. So that's really what I had an issue. A major issue with, and the fact that it was priced at the price level of an actually hand bound book. Still, all of that aside, this is a good book. I think that if anyone is starting out with spirits, they'll find a really nice basis from which to understand more advanced work. I think that on the other hand, if you've been working with spirits for a little while, maybe you're familiar with the PGM, the Greco-Egyptian Magical Papyri. Maybe you've been working with Hecate. Maybe you've taken some of Jason Miller's courses. Maybe you've taken some of Jack Grail's courses. Maybe you're familiar with the Glitch Bottle podcast. This is going to be a little bit early for you. This is going to be a little bit simple and very basic. But if basic is what you're looking for, because let's be clear, not everyone starts somewhere, right? We don't all start off by being fully experienced spirit workers, if you're starting off at zero, this is a really, really nice book to take you through some of those ideas, some of those techniques, some of those ways of working with spirits that are going to be common. A final thing that I really appreciate in the author here, Naag Loki Shivanath, is the fact that they've been very ecumenical. This is really a primer in this. It's not a primer for a particular tradition. It's a primer for spirits, and yes, he or they talk very clearly about various traditions. There are examples from various traditions, just illustrative examples that. And literally from many different traditions. So whatever your tradition is, you'll get a feel for what he's doing, for what is coming through here, and for the ideas themselves, that you'll then be able to apply specifically as you go into one tradition or another. Right? This is a primer after all, and it's expected that you're not already working with spirits or not already in a tradition. So yeah, that's very good stuff. There we are. That's my pretty long-winded review of this book, and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't done so already, and I will see you very soon with another review. Maybe a little word for those of you who haven't seen my post on Facebook. They did actually, Crosscrow Books did actually write a letter to everyone who had ordered the book that I'd previously reviewed, Witchcraft and the Shamanic Journey. Everyone who had ordered and purchased the Legacy Edition is actually going to be receiving a properly deluxe edition of that, which isn't something that they had to do, but they decided to do it because they decided that it was the right thing to do. And I have to say that that's really turned the tide for me and changed my mind on what Crosscrow Books are really out there to do. It really has comforted the message that they really do want to be a great publisher of esoteric books, which is great. And then the fact that they're going to be increasing the number of books printed so that they can decrease the prices to make them more accessible. I think that's really nice as well. There we are. There we go. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Take care of yourselves. Bye.